I call this meeting of the Perryton Independent School District to order. Let the record show that a quorum of board members are present and that this meeting has been duly called, and that notice of this meeting has been posted in accordance with the Texas Open Meeting Act, Texas Government Code, Chapter 551. Let's have a word of prayer. Our gracious and loving Father, we thank you so much for the privilege we have to serve this community and this district. Thank you so much for our administration, for our teachers, and most of all for our students who are hard-working young men and women. We ask that you bless them through the rest of the year. Lord, guide, guard, and direct us tonight. Let us open our minds to the things that will be said, make the decisions that are best for the Perryton Independent School District. And those decisions may be made in your name, your Son's name, Jesus Christ. These things we say in his name. Amen. Amen. Okay. We'll start our meeting with, we have 3 signed up for open forum. We'll follow the normal rules of, where are they? I had them here a minute ago. Pardon me, I've got so much stuff up here. They are. We'll follow our normal rules of decorum. Unfortunately, tonight we're going to cut you down to 3 minutes apiece. We have a very lengthy agenda tonight, but we want to hear from you. First on the agenda is, let me get my phone up, is Eric Garcia, and he's going to talk to us about soccer. Really?
Wow.
Okay, wait a minute.
You should have said dancing or something.
Yeah.
Okay.
For our hockey team, we're going to have this.
Yeah.
Okay. Whenever you're ready.
Well, first of all, good evening. Thank you for having us here today. And I have a distinct honor of presenting the first ever soccer trophy. Perryton has won.
Congratulations.
We experienced a pretty good tournament. We went out and won our first game 3-1 against Abilene Cooper. And then we played the Stephenville first team, and we unfortunately lost 1-0 to them. But we were able to compete with the state contender team. And then for our third game, to qualify for the finals, we played their second team, and we tied 1-1 against them. And then we went to the finals, and we tied the normal standard game. Okay, so we went to penalty kicks. And we won the penalty kicks, I believe, 6-5. Right? Yes, 6-5. 5-4, winning them out by 1. So we had a pretty good experience, and I want to thank all of you for allowing us to be able to do that in the community, and hopefully next year these will be gold balls. Thank you.
Hey, thank you. Thanks for your effort. We appreciate it. Julian Rivera is here to talk to us about a soccer weekend in Stephenville. Okay.
Well, yeah, I'm just adding on to what Eric said. Here again is the first trophy. As you know, our season didn't start as we all planned. Most of y'all may know we lost 5-0 against Pampa. The team we playing was going to be every team. Lost 5-0, but I'm actually kind of glad things turned out like that, because I do believe we needed to be humbled. I truly do, and look what it produced. We had a long talk that night. I think our whole team stayed up to like 3 a.m. contemplating what had gone wrong, and our mindset after that day had just switched like that. And we have to realize that we're playing soccer because we love the sport, not to show anyone what we're made of or what we're playing, because we love it and that's what we do. And that's pretty much just it. And I just wanted to add on that Eric was the one that missed the penalty. And again, I want to give you a big thanks for giving us the opportunity to have this for our final year in high school, and just thank y'all.
Thank you. Okay. All right, next up, Kevin Cummings on the budget amount spent for soccer. When you're ready to go, take off.
Yes. So Mr. Morales asked me to come and just break down some numbers really quick. I don't have time for a spreadsheet today. It's tax season. 3 days are gone, and I'm catching up. So I'll give you rough numbers. I'll tell you it's about $5,500 for goals. It was approximately $2,000 for just balls. Our uniforms are around $10,000 for everything. And you had grays, which are around $6,000. Our cold gear, which was almost, what, 8,000?
Because what I know is more than our uniform, so I'm not saying uniforms is about $8,000.
Yeah, this is around $8,000.
Did you get it? Did you get them in?
Everything except cold gear is lasting a little. It's taking forever. It was Adidas, and they told us it'd be a little late. We do have some shirts we ordered that are coming in for our donors, and we have banners that will go up for our donors. Those were around $3,500. Then we have some other equipment that's like ladders and, you know, everything, cones, flags, all that stuff. It ran around $1,500, and then you have ref fees, which are $540 for the Pampa game. Then we'll eventually pay for JV meals, JV motel to Stephenville, and then we did pay for a meal there, but we're going to reimburse that, work it out. So total, we've spent around $39,000. By the numbers, it looks like we'll probably hit around the $45,000 mark, with the fees that will come up and some other fuel and stuff like that. So that's kind of where we're sitting. So we do want to thank you again. We had a really awesome weekend. Kids played really well. Girls are doing really good. They're improving every week. And the boys just played an awesome game and became a real team. And it was really awesome to see them work together. So appreciate it, and thank all of you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right. That's everything we have on our first item, our open forum. Now we'll move into item number 4, which is discussion and possible consideration on annual financial report for fiscal year ending 8/31/2021. This will be presented from a Zoom meeting. Be presented by Mr. Dustin Chambers.
Is he ready?
All right, can everybody hear me okay?
Sure can.
Yeah, we're good.
All right. Well, I apologize if this is how we're having to do it, but I appreciate y'all allowing me to do it this way. My name is Dustin Chambers. I'm with Brown Graham Company out of Amarillo, here to present the annual financial report for the Perryton ISD for your fiscal year ended August 31st, 2021. The first thing we're going to look at is the blue bound document. If everybody can flip over to page 2, it's going to be on Brown Graham Company letterhead. This is the independent auditor's report. I'll just kind of go through this briefly. Go ahead if anybody has any questions through any of this, don't stop me. Here on the first paragraph, we talk about the financial statements that were audited. Second and third paragraph have to deal with responsibilities. Just to make you aware, the financial statements are the responsibility of the district's management and you as a board. Our responsibility as auditors is to issue an opinion on these financial statements. There in the last paragraph is our opinion. I won't go through this verbatim, but basically what it is, we issue an unmodified or a clean opinion. It's the best opinion you can get, meaning that there's no material misstatements or modifications that need to be made to the financial statements. For those to be in accordance with GAAP. There on the next page, the top 2 paragraphs have to deal with some additional information to the basic financial statements. And there in the last paragraph is some additional auditing that's required because the district received more than $750,000 in federal assistance. We'll look at that a little bit later on. And there on the next page, we've got an emphasis of matter. The first paragraph has to deal with a new Governmental Accounting Standards Board that was implemented this year, a statement called Fiduciary Activities, which basically all that does is it takes all of the activities of all of your student activity funds, and that's going to put those on the financial statements, which in the past they haven't. And then the next paragraph has to deal with the ongoing COVID pandemic and related to any uncertainty on how that's going to end, and really the end result on the district's financial statements. but I'll make it known here that there are no adjustments in these financial statements with regards to that uncertainty. Here on the next few pages, 6 through 10, this is the management's discussion and analysis. This is summarized financial information. It comes straight from the basic financial statements, and it is not audited. We're not going to go through any of that. We'll go ahead and jump over to page 12. Starting on page 12 of the district's financial statements, you have two types of financial statements. And this first one is called the government-wide financial statements. It's on the full accrual basis of accounting, so it includes all of your debt and liabilities related to pension and your OPEB plans, and it also includes all of your capital assets. There on page 12, we're going to focus on column 1 that's called governmental activities. There, the second column, business type, that's related to the Ranger Roundup Learning Center, and we'll look at that in a little bit later. First couple lines, you can see that the district at August 31st, 2021, the district had approximately $8.6 million in cash, which is very consistent with the prior year. They're about a quarter of the way down. You'll see your capital assets. Keep in mind, these are the historical costs net of any accumulated depreciation. So this isn't a fair market value of all the assets that the district currently has. They're about 3/4 of the way down into the non-current liability section. You'll see you've got approximately $13.9 million in outstanding debt as of the end of the year. And then you've got approximately $12.4 million in liabilities related to your pension and your OPEB plans. Now, I know that's a big number, but keep in mind that's not something you're going to get an invoice for. It's not something you're going to have to pay immediately. The only way that this would have to be paid is if every district employee retired today. You'll get down there to the very bottom. You see you've got unrestricted net position of a deficit of $10.3 million. That deficit's directly related to recognition of these pension and OPEB plans. Any questions on that statement? There on page 13, the statement of activities, similar to an income statement. There in column 1, under expenses down at the bottom, you'll see just over $27.1 million. This is the cost of the services that the district had to provide. There on page 14, almost all the way down, you'll see the change in that position was a decrease this year of $691,000. That does include depreciation. So if you add back $1.5 million of depreciation, you had an increase in that position of just under $820,000. Compared to last year, that's about a $200,000 decrease. A lot of that is related to property tax collection. There was a significant decrease in those this year, along with the changes in your pension and your OPEB plans. Any questions on that statement? All right, from here we'll jump to page 16. This starts the fund financial statements. These are on a modified accrual basis or a budgetary basis. It does not include any debt related to bonds, notes, or pension or OPEB plans, and it doesn't include any capital assets. Here on 16, we're going to focus on the first column related to the general fund. The other funds are made up of your federal, your state, and your local grant funds, as well as your debt service and capital projects fund. Have those been significant enough, those will be presented here separately as well. Right there at the top, you've got approximately $7.8 million in cash, which represents 87.9% of your total assets, and will cover 4.5 months of operating expenditures of the district. There at the bottom, you can see you have total fund balances of just over $6.5 million, with $6.336 million of that being unassigned or available for any use. That amount represents 3.6 months of expenditures. We're typically looking for an average between 3 to 6 months, so y'all are right in that range for unassigned fund balance. They're on the next page. This is a reconciliation of the items that are required to convert from a fund basis to a government line basis of accounting. Don't really have anything to go over there, so we'll jump over to page 18. Statement of revenues, expenditures, and changes in fund balance. See at the top over there, once again, we're going to focus on the general fund column. You had a total revenue of $20.3 million. That is a decrease compared to last year of just over $1.8 million, which is directly related to your property tax collections. Next section, you can see total expenditures of $20.9 million, or a net decrease in fund balance of $670,000. Getting down to your total fund balance of $6.5 million. Anybody have any questions on that statement? All right, the next page is another reconciliation, so we're going to go over to page 20. These are your proprietary funds, this is the Ranger Roundup Learning Center. You see here we've got total assets of $90 million. A lot of that's made up of a due from other government related to the Texas Workforce Commission grant that was received for fiscal year 21 that was not received until after the end of the year. They're on the next page. Here on your income statement, you'll see total revenues of $380,000, with $280 of that made up of tuition type fees for the Learning Center, which is an increase there of about $100,000 compared to last year. And then there, that federal revenues line of $74,000 is that Texas Workforce grant that I mentioned on the previous page. Total operating expenses for the Learning Center of $519,000, which is also an increase of approximately $100,000 compared to fiscal year 20. To get to an operating loss of $138,000 for 2021. There, the next section, you'll see you've got a loss subsidy from other governments of $78,000. What's that is? That is Auditor General's portion of the loss for the Learning Center. Now, that would typically match up with the next line, which is the general fund subsidy of the loss as well. But those don't agree because the OGH backed out of the agreement during the year. So as of that time, that's where they went ahead and funded their portion of the loss. So after that point, things got a little bit better, so the general fund didn't have to subsidize quite as much. Any question on those statements? Then we'll jump to page 23. Statement of fiduciary net position. These are your scholarship funds and your student activity funds. They're kept separately because these aren't district funds. You're just in a fiduciary capacity. They can't be used for district operations. That'll conclude the basic financial statements unless anybody wants to go back and talk about anything on any of those. All right, we'll jump over to page 26. This starts the notes of the financial statements. For the first several pages, there's note 1, it's a carry forward. It's a listing of all the district's policies that are currently in place. We won't go through any of those. If you have trouble sleeping, get those a shot. They'll probably help out. We're going to go ahead and jump over to page 34. There in note E, this is just a roll forward of the district's capital assets from the beginning of the year to the end of the year. You can see 395,000 in capital asset additions, as well as 196,000 in construction in progress, which is related to the softball field renovation and the science lab. From here, we can jump over to page 39. Here in note G, here's a roll forward of your bonds and your long-term debt from beginning of the year to the end of the year. Don't issue any new debt this year. And on the next page there at the top, you can see the district's debt service requirements for the next 5 years and then thereafter. The next several pages are some required disclosures related to the pension and OPEB plan. We're not going to go through any of those in any detail, but I will draw your attention over to page 46. There, right in the middle of the page, you'll see 17.7 million is the total liability of the district's employees to cover the pension, with the district's portion being 6 million and the state's portion being 11.8 million. And then on page 51, on the OPEB side, you've got 15 million total in your OPEB plan, with 6.4 being the district's portion and 8.6 million being the state's portion. Here we can jump over to page 61. Right here at the top, we just got, once again, kind of a rehash of what we saw in the opinion on the COVID-19 pandemic. No adjustments to these financial statements related to that. And there at the bottom is a prior period adjustment. That's directly related to implementation of the GASB statement of the fiduciary activities. So there you can see we restated beginning net position or fund balance by a total of $230,000. Here on the next page, some discussion on the construction projects that were ongoing at the end of the year. How much was spent on those after the end of the year through today's date, and estimated completion dates. From here we can jump over to page 64. Here's your general fund budget versus actual comparison. They're quarter of the way down in the expense section. Just make it aware here that all of the budget appropriations exceeded the actual expenditures. We didn't have any negative variances there. And then following this is going to be more schedules related to pension and OPEB. And then it's going to be your dividing schedules, which are made up of your detail of your federal, state, and local grants. I don't feel like we need to go through any detail on any of those. Jump over to page 86. Here's a few TEA required schedules, starting with your delinquent taxes receivable. Roll forward of that. There on page 87, middle of the page, you can see total current year property tax collections of $10.6 million, which represents approximately 97.8% of the total levy. On the next page is your budget versus actual for your child nutrition program. This fund did represent a negative budgetary fund balance related to some commodities that we had to recognize as part of the audit. Management's aware of that. They'll more closely monitor the budget. This doesn't affect any findings or anything like that. On the next page is your budget versus actual for your debt service fund. Appropriations also exceeded expenditures in this fund as well. From here, we're going to jump over to page 92. This starts the compliance section. Like we mentioned earlier, because the district gets more than $750,000 in federal assistance, we do an additional what's called a single audit. This year, the single audit was on the food service program and the ESSER 1 and ESSER 3 funds. If we had any findings, issues, or recommendations related to those would be documented here, but we did not have any, so both of those audits went great. Clean audits, so nothing else to discuss on those. That'll conclude the audit report and financial statements. Unless anybody wants to talk about anything, go back to any statements on those.
Does the board have any questions this time?
Anytime.
We've got one more letter. This will be on Brown Graham and Company letterhead too. It should be separate. I'm hoping those made it up there. Okay. This is just some required communications to the board. It's a summary of how the audit went. First page talks about responsibilities again, just like we talked about in the financial report. So we'll talk about those. But there at the bottom, you can see compliance with independence. Myself and the firm that I work for, we all feel that we maintain our independence while being able to do this audit. There on the second page, quarter of the way down, significant accounting policies, another discussion related to implementation of the GASB Statement 84. And there in the last section has to deal with significant accounting estimates for your property tax allowance, your pension and OPEB estimates, and your useful life and depreciation on your capital assets. There on the next page, about halfway down, significant difficulties encountered during the audit. Happy to report we didn't have any significant difficulties. The next section has to deal with uncorrected and corrected misstatements. We did not have any uncorrected misstatements, but we did identify some misstatements as part of the audit. A lot of those were cleanup type entries just for the preparation of the financial statements that we just went over. None of those were material in nature, and none of those had any significant effect on your financial statements. A listing of those are attached to this letter. There, the last paragraph has to deal with disagreements with management. We didn't have any disagreements with management during the course of the current year audit. Next page. Top paragraph, representations required for management. We received a management representation letter. It does not, it's not the same draft that's attached to this letter with the unforeseen circumstances that were going on. Doug and Mr. Morales both signed this letter and scanned it back to me today. Next section, we're not aware of any consultations with other accountants regarding auditing matters. And there at the bottom, we've got the modification of auditor's report, which is just verbatim the GASB 84 discussion and the code discussion that we had in the opinion. That will conclude that letter and my presentation unless anybody has anything else.
Questions? Well, I'm not hearing anything. Dustin, we want to thank you for your presentation, for your hard work. We thank you
I want to
for
thank Doug and all of his staff for all of their work, hard work getting the audit put together. We sure do appreciate it.
Okay. Well,
All right.
we'll see you the next time.
Okay, thank y'all.
I think you need a motion to. approve.
Yeah, we'll need a motion on this. I was just gonna ask if you had any other comments, though.
No, everything went pretty good. We got into a few issues with him and we resolved them pretty good.
Okay.
So I'm pleased with the way it turned out. It's about the best audit we've had in a long time, so it
Good.
went really well.
So you went easy on you this year, is that what you're saying?
Well, no, but it went okay.
There's just so much more.
Pleased with it.
There's so much more auditing at school districts and everything else. It's unreal.
Yeah, it's,
Okay, we need a motion to accept the audit for the fiscal year ended 8/31/2021.
So moved. Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor? All those opposed? Motion carries 7-0. Okay, with that. Okay, we now move to Board Appreciation Month. Mr. Morales.
Let me see if I got those principles still out here, because I can't tell you which one gave me what. Can you do that, Dr. Ross?
They came in throughout the day.
No, this came from a junior high.
This is high
That was
school.
self-explanatory right here.
Yeah. Williams. Cool. Very cool. And a book.
I'll go first. So the pre-K and kinder, we've got a banner and then a card from one of the classes over here. You've got a little airplane and another card.
That's
And then
absolutely cool.
these are cards with candy underneath.
Okay.
We won the lotto with you with all the kids' pictures on the money and some goodies and books.
What kind of pie? Did you do the pies? Oh, ooh. Ronnie was
Well,
baking.
I consider to take a lot of credit for all this. I made these pies.
That's what I was wondering.
Noon opened the door, and myself and another young lady, we made it all the way in there. Carmen Cowan made those. Mitch, Shane, and all those sisters. She kicks up her at the cell barn up in Beaver, I think. She used to be, when I coached up at Balco, she ran the cafeteria up there. They're pretty good. I coached them say they make you glad you learned how to eat. And we had to break into one out there. So guys, thank y'all. Appreciate you.
Thank you. Thank you.
The Culinary Arts made sausage balls for you guys so you can enjoy over there, and we have a poster for you. And then the little flashlights and the signs are life skills. Teachers been working really hard to help the students learn how to sign their names and things, so they signed the back of those for you. And just something to tell you how much we appreciate you.
It's a neat
Thank
idea.
you very much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Miss Chisholm is not here, but Wright Elementary gave y'all the placemats. And then Mr. Cates left you a clue to which one he gave you.
Yeah.
I believe the baskets came from the high school.
They did.
And then the curriculum instruction selected books. They're all Bluebonnet books. They'll go back to the library at Wright and Williams. So these are books that students will be able to select and read for next year. So everyone has a nameplate with your name inside the book.
Cool.
So they made a donation to the library.
Yes.
That's a good way to do that.
That's a great one.
Thick one over there.
I want to thank everyone. It's a great district. We have great people. We have great students. Okay. We will now adjourn into executive session. The board will now convene into closed session to discuss the following items posted on our agenda this evening as allowed by the Texas Government Code. Let's see. 551.074,
personnel matters, 551.082, student discipline, and 551.076, security. Meeting back in to session. The time now is 7:49. First item on the agenda is our superintendent's report. Mr. Rouse.
Okay, earlier tonight, we heard somebody in open forum, and I'm glad that Kevin came in and kind of just gave a quick synopsis of how he spent the, I think it was $39,000 or $35,000, so that the community and people that donated to that know that. I do want everybody to know that what the school district has appropriated for soccer, it's about $39,000. Some of that going to extra soccer duties, soccer assistant coaches, all the benefits of those coaches, maintenance and repair on soccer field. I know we bought a painter and a striper to stripe the field. We're going to pay for soccer officials, general supplies for soccer, student travel, and then student entry fees for tournaments. Again, I think with the money that they have donated to us, the soccer, I forget what it's called, Chasing Your Dreams, have donated to us, will help us with starting the soccer, because we have goals now, we have uniforms, we have a lot of the gear that we won't have to buy next year. Again, this wasn't our idea to start soccer, but when they brought it to us and the interest that we got from the kids, it's going to help us. So I just wanted you all to know that them winning that tournament helps them with their confidence. It helps the community thinking it was a good thing to do. And right now, the boys soccer program, the interest, it's, there's 44 boys out there practicing every day, and I think that's always going to be there and viable. And in the girls program, I think there's about 25, 30 girls. So I think we made the right decision, and we just need to keep supporting that program. The next one is the district is going to send out a survey. Darren's going to send a survey out probably tomorrow, dealing with arming staff members. It's in your book. I just want the community to know that we don't do this haphazardly. We have been talking about this for over a year now, checking things out, seeing how they're done, talking to our attorney. All we're wanting now is some feedback from parents and feedback from staff members, and then we'll take into consideration what they think and how they feel, and we'll determine whether we move forward with it or not.
All right. And now move on to campus reports. First report we have is the Ludi Martin School Board report. Anything to add?
We tried to have a parent meeting last Monday night, don't see not a whole lot showed. Sent out 28 letters.
Yeah, that's what you said in your report. You tried, though.
We tried.
Yes, sir.
And Coach did a good job. He presented for quite a while. 2 people, he acted like there was 100. And so we didn't change the program just because there were 2 people.
Allison Virol came over there and star test, help us, everything. I mean, she actually had a good slideshow. I said, we have a note, we'll go in Miss Hal's room, had a PowerPoint and everything, but she had some handouts and stuff, so.
Opportunity was given.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. Mr. Sproul, anything to add to your report?
No, sir. Just want to tell you all thank you for everything you do for our students and our teachers, and happy school board. Appreciation month.
Thank you very much. We appreciate it. All right. Radar report.
Everything's going well.
That's good. All right. Mr. Cates.
I've actually got the next 3, and all's good at all 3 places.
That's cheating. All right. All right. Coach Hab, move on to anything for your athletic report?
Nothing bad.
Okay. Maintenance report. Mr. Kemp. Okay. Food services.
She is not here. She wasn't feeling very well today, so don't know where we're going with that.
Okay. Okay, Darren, you're up. I didn't forget you this time.
Didn't forget me, okay. I do have just one of the things that is in my report that would like to discuss a little bit more. We talked a couple of weeks ago about the daily text that we're sending out with the COVID notification. And it is daily to almost every campus right now because the COVID is in bloom big time. But my biggest concern is that the fatigue of the text on the parents, and I'm concerned that the parents are tuning out our text because they're getting one every single day. And what I would like to encourage is that we discontinue that and we continue to use the daily, the one that's on the website for everyone to see. I will send one last text out with a link to remind people that they can go there every day and get the up-to-the-minute stuff. And that one's more accurate and more consistent anyway, because as soon as I get notified of one, it gets added to that dashboard. And so it's a more up-to-date, current thing for them than the text. So that's just where I'm looking to head with that. With there's no objections.
Board have any objections to that?
I think it's a good idea. Because I get the text too, Darren, and I don't pay attention.
That's exactly what I'm afraid of, is that after almost 2 years of this, people have tuned out the text. And I'm afraid it's going to be some real text at some point that they really need to know about, and they're going to tune it out because they're tired of getting a text every day. So I think we're going to just continue that and just steer people to that dashboard.
Darren, can you give us our numbers as of today?
Our 42, I believe it is. I had it up a minute ago. 42 total, 17 our staff, and whatever the other side of that is, our students. That is positive COVID tests, COVID positive staff and students today.
Okay, and just for the board's information, I did call the principals on an emergency meeting last week sometime, and we have a plan basically of if one building gets into serious needs of teachers or staff, we will substitute teachers from one building to another. So I've put Kinder, Wright, and Williams together, and let's say Kinder gets into bad shape, then we'll take some teachers from the other building or other two buildings to replace those, because they're used to working with that same age child. And then I have put the junior high, the high school, and Ludy Martin together to where if one of those buildings get into trouble, they could borrow staff from another. Because we're going to do everything we can to keep our doors open, because we're still going to have kids there.
46 is our current total, both staff and students. That number was 6 a week ago, on Monday morning a week ago. So it's been a busy week for me.
We're not distinguishing between Omicron and the Delta.
There's no way you can know.
All right. Any further questions for Darren? All right. Move on. Ranger Roundup Learning Center. Anything to add?
I don't believe she's here, but there's nothing to add.
Okay. Mr. Throckmorton, did we have an insert on his technology report?
Yeah, it's here somewhere.
Read that. Any other additions to that? Not. Dr. Rock, curriculum and instruction.
The slides that were provided as an attachment or to be provided as requested, but they got added to our board book, so everyone had the opportunity to review those. And I do have the feedback if anybody would like to review that as well. And I can entertain any questions that you may have.
I have a question on our CCMR data.
Yes,
We're
sir.
substantially, not substantially, we're below both region and state there. Do we, it's because we don't offer concurrent courses, or why is that?
There was a change in the way that they were gathering the CCMR data
Okay.
from previous years,
Uh-huh.
and that was the biggest impact.
Okay.
The concurrent.
Okay. And then on page like 24-4, looks like we've way overshot our goal. Our board has way overshot our goals and where we actually are. Should we revise those going forward, or what's your direction there?
We can revise them. These are goals that were set prior to Mr. Morales and I coming into the district.
Yes.
So we have not changed those.
Uh-huh.
But as we've met with different departments, different campuses, some of these are pretty high.
Uh-huh.
And we can definitely look at revising them.
And I love goals, but I always like to have goals that are slightly, not too high, but that we can shoot at and make. I don't want them too easy, but that was just something that hit me.
Yeah, they need to be realistic though.
You're realistic, they need to be realistic. That's all I saw on my part. Anybody else have any questions?
Dr. Rock, what were some of the comments from the staff on this?
For the most part, it was very positive. The changes have been made to delivery of instruction, the planning. We have more teachers that are looking at providing more support with vocabulary for all students. If you look at page 23, our district ACT data, and if you compare that to the slide on the last one on page 22, for the CCMR data, the ACT, in order to get credit for the CCMR, the students have to perform at a 19 or above on English or math, and the composite must be a 23. So if you look at that first slide on 23, you'll see that our average is sitting at about 19.
So we made everybody aware of that,
Yes.
all staff members?
And of course, these are students that are going to college, so we definitely have to address vocabulary and performance a little bit higher in the English and then the math, because that's what's taken into consideration for CCMR.
Any other questions? Dr. Rock, you have anything else for us?
That was all, thank you.
All right, thank you. All right, we'll now move on to Doug. You're up. CFO's report.
First, on page 40 is our disbursements report. There's 22 pages of the complete disbursements for the month of December. Flip through those. And then next on page, looks like 62 is the January disbursements for the month in two sections. One's computer checks, 2 pages of those, and then 2 pages of district checks there too. So those are through 60, 65. Starting our financial report on page 66, 67. Total cash position for all funds. You can see those accounts there at General Fund 321, 670, 53 on through those. Total of 510,274.05. And general operating funds next on page 68. Our reconciled balance of 321, 670, 53. Broker accounts of 121308, and CDs of 9,268,000, and the schedule of those is on page 69 there. Starting to get some of our tax money in at the end of December. We'll get the bulk of it here in the next 2 weeks in January. Most of it will be collected by the end of January. Interest and sinking funds, page 70, 42 cents in the cash account. CDs of 703, 337, and the schedule of those CDs there, page 71. Cafeteria funds of 81,812.05, no CDs. Special education funds of 61,673.69 and CDs of 200,000. Schedule of those on page 75. Activity accounts of reconcile cash 36,188.10 and CDs of 360,992.60, and the schedule there on page 77. Ranger Roundup 8,929. Capital projects, the CD of 121,482.14, and the schedule of that CD there. Then our financial statement section. This is for the 4 months from September through December. Our revenues in our general fund of $7,277,694. No, revenues of $8,983,802 and expenditures of $7,277,694. And on page 82 is a financial statement format there, showing those same numbers. That represents, out of our budget of estimated revenues of $21,144,000, that $8 million represents 42% of our estimated revenues. Expenditures, next page on 83, 84, and 85. Our budget, $21,216,487. We expended $7,277,000. That's about 34.3% of our budget. The two capital projects that we have, or one capital project really that we have going, is our softball field project. And I think this just about through with it. I think they're scheduled, Mr. Morales might know, but I think they're almost ready to go in February probably.
Yeah, they're pretty close.
Yeah.
Minor stuff, a few stand things they need to put back together, and maybe some gravel and some holes, but
yeah,
nothing major.
Sort of perfect timing then for the season to start.
And it just finished in time.
Yeah. Food service fund on page 87, revenues of $476,592, expenditures of $451,602. The reimbursement rates are a lot better than they were last year. You can see in our financial numbers that we're sort of making money or breaking even, so to speak, where last year's rates were not near close to that. But we're getting funded on all the meals served. Of course, the students are not being charged for their meals, so I guess more of them we're serving more meals, and it just adds up. So, same numbers on our financial statements there. Revenues of $476,591 and expenditures of $451,601. Debt service funds, revenues of $451,136. No expenditures yet. We will have our semi-annual interest payment on our bonded debt February 15th. So that'll be coming up here before long. Capital project funds, really no change this year so far. Ranger Roundup, revenues of $111,655 and expenditures of $144,131. And then we provide a detail of the revenues and expenditures for Ranger Roundup, what we've been doing. And last but not least is our enrollment report on page 101. Our enrollment as of January the I don't see a date jumping out of me offhand, but our total enrollment of 2,031, down from 2032 in December and compared to opening day of 2105.
Okay. Any questions for Doug?
I did have one question. In the disbursements, it seemed like Amazon was a lot larger than normal for this month. It took up almost 2 pages. Or I just want to make sure that we're keeping our focus towards, I mean, what percentage of those do you think we've checked with local before we just automatically clicked Amazon? And because a lot of those things are things that
Most
you look
of
at and
those
go, well,
are-
they're not available in town, but a lot of them sure could be.
I don't think there's much of it that's available in town. Most of those are ESSER grant expenditures that, for technology and things that, you know, those kind of things. And, but I think we do a pretty good job of trying to shop local whenever we can.
I just want to make sure, because we've talked about that a lot in here, that we're continuing that mindset, you know?
I think we put it on the campus, individual campus management.
Yes,
to make sure that buy local when you can. I'm hoping we're still doing that.
Yeah.
Okay.
We held several meetings.
There should be sort of a, with those disbursements, there is a description of what's being bought.
There is.
So-
That was why I was checking things that looked like they would potentially be
Could have been
available
bought
here in
local.
town.
Yeah.
You know, keyboards for surfaces and some furniture things, some desk things that may certainly be available at stores up and down Main Street.
Yeah.
Any other questions for Doug? All right, thank you, Doug. You all right? We'll now move on to our consent agenda items. First item up is our minutes of prior meetings. We have 2 meetings, the regular board meeting and our special call meeting.
Motion. Second.
I have an addition. Is this for both of them?
Yes.
Okay, I have an addition we need to do on the special meeting. We had an adjournment in executive session, personnel and also for security, and we did not identify the section on security in our consent agenda items 551.074. So if we could
Make a
add that
correction to that.
make that correction, we can have the motions to accept the minutes as amended.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, all those in favor? All those opposed? Motion carries 7-0. All right, next thing we have, I believe, review of our investment program, Doug.
I think we have a budget amendment.
Yeah, budget amendment Friday.
Yeah, I'm sorry, budget amendment.
108.
Yeah.
This first one is a sort of we have that consolidated of our federal funds, Title 1, 2, 3, and 4, and we get a reallocation of actual carryover revenue and a reallocation amount. And when we do the budget, we're sort of using a projection of those amounts. We sort of know what it's going to be, but this gets the revenue to be realized in these special revenue funds that's available to be transferred for consolidation to our general fund, gets them in agreement. So like Title I, we're adding an additional $10,690 of transfer revenue available, and then the same on Title II, $1,879, Title III, $5721, and $909. And those you can see balance out because with the additional transfer revenue, it allows for an additional appropriation there, so keeping our fund balance in, it sort of washes out completely. That's what that is. And then number 2 is there was a new custodian hired to take care of that pre-K building. We had been, the custodians at Kinder had been working on there, and they were generating a lot of overtime and getting disillusioned with continually having to overtime and all that kind of stuff. So this is another position, a custodian position for Kinder. So we're providing for that position there.
Any questions on the amendments? If not, do I hear a motion?
So moved. Second.
I have a motion and a second to accept the budget amendments as presented. Any further discussion? All those in favor? All those opposed? Passes 7-0. Now we're ready, Doug.
Our investment report starts on page 110, and this is an annual, sort of this annual investment report summary that we do every year, and it sort of highlights there's an introduction there you can see about how our policy ensures compliance, and the auditors are part of that, and this report is part of our compliance with the rules for their inbound investment policy, and it talks about investment officers have to complete 10 hours of training during the year, and I think Mr. Morales and Ms. Morales are going to do that this spring, I think in March, I believe, and sort of continues there with the normal stuff there, and list of the broker dealers, and then the training providers for that training is there listed on page 114. And then on page 116 is sort of an annual summary. This compares last year. You can see in our general fund, our financial balance of $9,590,883 is higher than we were at the end of last year, $7,956,000. So, and you can see all those. In total, all funds or investable amount at the end of December was $11,165,298 compared to $9,188,086 there. Broken down by checking account balances of $510, broker accounts of $1,200, CDs of $10,135,000, and broker CDs of $518 in total. And our recommendations are sort of continue what we've been doing. The monthly and annual reports fully disclose the district's investment practice. Our strategy is liquidity, safety with FDIC coverage or collateral, and yield are our goals. And our plan is to continue current policies and practices. And then as part of this is our compliance report on page 12. This is a resolution that the board, we propose that the board adopt, which shows that it's a compliance aspect of this, that we have gone over this report with the board, and the board's in agreement with our policy and everything. And then finally, as part of this disclosure, the board has two board policies relating to investments. One is CDA legal, which is the state mandated policy. We've attached that there. And then there's CDA local, which is included in there too. And within that policy is this requirement that we have this annual review. You can see that on page 125. And then it's also required that the auditors review that and adhere our investment policies to what's actual in practice, and that's on page 125.
Are those changes, or this is what's been all along?
This is the current policy. There's no changes. There could be updates. The legal one, this legal policy here is dated 11/22/19, so it hadn't been any change since the.
Only Westfield would discover those while I was watching the football game.
And he did not see it.
The local policy is dated 11/22/19 also, so.
Okay, any other questions for Doug on the investment review?
Do we need a motion on that resolution?
Yeah. We have to have the board adopt the board resolution regarding review of the investment program. Do I hear a motion?
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to adopt the review of the board resolution for review of the investment program. Any discussion? All those in favor? All opposed? Motion passes 7-0.
Thank you.
Okay, next, have consideration and action on an order of election. Mr. Morales.
Yeah. I move that the board order a general election for 2 at-large positions and a special trustee election to fill the remaining 2 years of a vacant trustee position to be held on May 7th, 2022.
Motion.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? Motion passes 7-0. Mr. Morales, adjunct professor.
Adjunct faculty agreement. I recommend that the board approve that Mr. Strawn's request as presented to be an adjunct teacher for PISD.
So moved.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor? All those opposed? Motion passes 7-0. We reviewed Mr. Morales last December, and after his review, discussion, at this time I would like to present his contract with renewal, 1-year renewal to June of 2024, as well as increasing number of vacation days from 30 to 40.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor? All opposed? Motion passes 7-0. Now the most important thing, next month's board meeting. That is the third Tuesday is the 22nd. Fourth Tuesday is the 22nd. We have the third Tuesday, the 15th.
Weekend, 15th.
Pardon?
Boys basketball game.
Yeah, I'm sure there will be, yes. I'm sure there will be.
22nd could be playoff.
22nd could be playoffs. I will be leaving town on the 24th. We'll be out 24th through March 6th. I don't have to be here, but it's a pretty important meeting as far as administrator contracts, so I think we pretty well need to have a full run of board members for that. Got any dates thrown out?
21st, President's Day, I don't know if we'll do the games over there.
I don't either. 21st of February. Do we have anything on the school calendar 21st?
Darren?
Staff development.
Nothing on the 21st?
Yes,
There it is.
staff development.
Staff development.
That's staff development that night.
No junior high games.
Basketball should be over. Junior high basketball should be over.
Okay.
So that'd be good.
I think it should be good.
21st? All right, we'll set February 21st is our next board meeting, beginning at 6 o'clock here at the Administration Building. Do we have anything else to be brought before the board? If not, I declare this meeting adjourned at 8:22.